All right, let's talk chicken. And everybody has their own way of barbecue and smoking chicken. I'm going to tell you something that has been really, really good to me. I mean, my family will tell you, my friends, wherever I cook, I've been in competitions and it's won. Everybody will tell you that chicken is one of my absolute go-tos. It can be a little dicey to get it done just right. And I'm not talking about competitions, that's cool and all, but I'm talking about just having a great family get together with beautiful, delicious, juicy, and fantastic chicken start to finish. And I'm going to tell you just a couple little things that are going to make a big difference. Let me give you an example, all right? This is something that we're going to cover here in the next few minutes. Let's say you smoke a beautiful chicken, and you give it to your friends, family, whatever, and they take a bite, and sometimes what happens? A whole big old piece of skin comes off. That can be a little dicey. I'm going to tell you exactly how to mitigate that, maybe prevent it altogether to get a nice clean bite. It's really important in competitions, but again, that's neither here nor there. There are people better than me at that. But the number one thing that I think is most important to get the best barbecue chicken you will ever have, and all my friends and family always tell me my chicken is the best they've ever had. Not to pat myself on the back, I'm going to help you guys here because as I often say, there are no secrets. There's no secrets that I keep when it comes to barbecue. I want everybody to have just a fantastic experience behind the pit, behind the pellet grill, or whatever it may be. Whole chicken. I know there are a lot of people that are really good at cooking a breast. I've seen some, put the chicken in muffin tins and just make it really pretty, or just a quarter, or just a half, or whatever. I'm telling you, for my money, for consistency and deliciousness and succulent chicken, time after time after time, cook the whole chicken. It just stays juicier. The skin stays better. With a couple of tips that I'm going to show you here in a second, the color is consistent throughout. If you do a couple of things that I'm going to tell you here as you're cooking the whole chicken. So let's get right to it. Foremost, the number one thing you do, as I said, is get a whole chicken, but you really have to dry them out real good. I use paper towels. I'll show you here in a second how I dry the chickens, and I'm not going to bore you with that, but how I season the chickens, what I use, and a little tip to make sure the skin can stay on there real good. But get the whole chicken, dry it out. Paper towels, you're going to go through some paper towels. I go through a good number of them. I'm talking about the top, the sides. First of all, you clean the chicken out, you get everything drained, rinsed off, or whatever. Then you put it on paper towels, on a cookie sheet, or whatever it is you're using, and then start patting sideways, front, back, inside the cavity, everything. You really want that chicken dry. And I'm going to take you through the whole process. It's usually about 4.5, 5 hours for me once I start cooking. But here's the other thing. When you dry off the chicken really good and you're happy with that, then you season it. Then you let it rest for another hour or so. If you don't have the time, I get it. Just put it right on the grill. I understand that. I've done that myself. At least another hour or two. Hour at room temperature should be good to let it dry out a little more, and then you can put a little more seasoning, and I'll show you that. Some people put it in the refrigerator for 5-6 hours. That's cool. I think it gets a little bit moister, actually, when you put it in the refrigerator. But let me show you exactly the process here to get these chickens done, and get them done, the right way. All right, so you see these chickens here, and they're pretty much dry. I'm going to show you what I do from here. Now, I use, just like I said, I'm pretty generous with the paper towels. You get the sides, you get the tops, you get the bottoms. You lay them on paper towels to get them nice and dry. And then I use a mix of a sweet and a sweet and a spicy rub, and you do it pretty generously. And I'll show you exactly about how generously. I won't bore you with the whole thing, but about how much I actually put on the chicken, and then you rub it in, and front, sides, and a little bit on the back doesn't hurt as well. So I'll show you exactly about that. It's pretty generous. It's pretty good. And if it's dry, you can kind of rub it in there pretty good. You're going to put some more later, so I'll show you exactly what you do. Top, bottom, sides. I won't bore you with all that. All right, so let me tell you everything that's going to go into this cook. The chicken, as I showed you, has been drying. I seasoned the entire chicken. This is the sweet and tangy. I always say tangy because I don't like it too spicy, but a little bit of a bite. You guys, if you know me from my OG sauce, which is going to come into play here for about the last hour of the cook, I like texture. I like being able to have all kinds of bold flavors in whatever it is that you're doing. Doesn't have to be too sweet. Doesn't have to be too spicy, but I like that, and we'll get that in a minute. So the rubs that I use pretty consistently, and they've been fantastic for me over the years for my chicken, is a half and half combination of Dan Pastorini's Texas style rub and Southside Market, their original rub. And as I always say here, these are unsolicited, unpaid endorsements. This is how I make my chicken. I always say no secrets. I'll tell you exactly what I do. So those are the rubs I use on the chicken. And then the other thing you do is after you get them all done, you got to do this little trick right here. All right, so you may have seen, there's my combination of mix, and there's the OG sauce. We'll get to that in the last half hour. You may have seen this a second ago when I was showing you how I was drying and rubbing these chickens. This is a very key part that a lot of people don't do. Very simple, just takes a second, and it really matters when it comes to your skin, because when you're smoking this chicken, obviously you want the fat, you want the skin, you want the juices going in there, you want it wrapped up nice and tight in its own juices there, in its own skin. But you don't want the skin to fall off whenever someone takes a big old bite of it. So this is what you do right here. You see that little fatty kind of folded area right there between the leg and the breast. All you do is you can use toothpicks, but I use this little thing. It's got a bend in it already from a lot of overuse. Just stick a little hole right there, a little hole right there, and a little hole right there. See how the skin just kind of folds down? So what that does, and you do it on all 4 areas of your 2 if you have 1 chicken, but 4 in my case right here. What that does is it'll keep it nice and tight, the skin nice and tight on the bird, but when it starts to cook and shrink, it doesn't stretch it too much. It stays more toward the skin. And some people do it in other places as too, but you want to try it with this. Just 1 kind of high, 1 there, 1 there. And see how you can really see it on this one, how it's kind of puffy. Well, that's going to stretch as you cook, but not as much if you just put a little hole there, a little hole there. Well, that was kind of violent. And a little hole there. And just do it all the way across, right there. Just little holes, doesn't have to be perfect. And the skin is going to get nice and tight on the bird as you're cooking. And that's it. Let's go to the grill. All right, so obviously I got the Traeger going real good. And I'm about to put the chickens on. They've been sitting for about an hour and a half, room temperature, about 70 degrees. That's not going to hurt anything. If you want to let them dry and let the seasonings get in there a little more, you can do 4 to 6 hours in the refrigerator. Uncovered, I do it uncovered in the refrigerator. Now the pellets I'm going to use, I mentioned these in a recent video, so I want to go ahead and show them to you because I didn't have the bag. It was empty last time. And these are made in Hamlin. And what you can choose whatever pellets you want, but the thing I like about this, it has mesquite, pecan, and it has oak as well. So you get a real good flavor there. Get the grill, whether you're using a stick burner like I have, or this Traeger like I'm using today. Make sure you get it to about 225 degrees. Keep it there. You're going to end up cooking about 4 to 4.5 hours, sometimes a little longer depending on the size of the birds. Internal temp. Some people say 160, 165. I actually split the difference because I let the chickens rest a little bit. And don't forget, you're going to put them on there and pretty much leave them for about the first 3 hours. And at 3 hours, that's when you come in and you brush a little bit of OG sauce all over that. I'll show you that as well. And I'll show you how these chickens can be beautiful and delicious and the skin won't fall off as much, if at all. All right, so chickens are on. I'll show you that real quick. What you see is make sure they're not touching. Put the probe in on the meaty part of the breast. If you have a probe, or you can just use one like the meat eater. I have one here on the grill. You don't want to be touching bone. You want to make sure that it's on there In the meaty parts, you get a true temperature. I'm gonna let these babies cook for about, I'm gonna check them in about an hour and a half, and then again about an hour and a half or so after that. All right, chickens have been on for about 2 hours. It's time to put some OG sauce on them. Obviously, you guys know that's all I use. You can get it at ogsauce.com. A lot of people have been buying it. It's perfect for something like this. So get the chickens out with about an hour and a half left to go. And you're gonna wanna put OG sauce. Man, look at those birds, they look fantastic. You're gonna wanna put about the whole bird, sides, front, top. You're gonna wanna put some OG sauce on them. I'll show you how to do this here real quick. You cover it completely, and once it's covered, you're only about, I would say, an hour to an hour and a half away from those birds being done, and then you let them rest for a little bit. So that's the way to do it. Cover both birds, and you'll be good to go. I'll come back and show you the finished product. All right, guys, they've been sitting for about, I would say about 45 minutes. Get to the chicken right now. I'll show you how I do it. Doing it the right way, you should be able to just pull the back off like this. Pull this middle part out. Make sure you keep the legs intact, like that. Then you should be able to just cut right through. There's one drumstick. Right there where I put those little holes that I was telling you about earlier. Goes right through there, nice and easy. There's another one. I usually just kind of open the wings like that, and you can cut right through it. Open the other wing, cut right through it, and then you're good to go on the breast. And you feel the middle right there, go right to the right of it, go right down. Good to go. And you can sometimes just do what I'm doing right here. Just pull the whole breast out like that, and it should slice nice and easy. I'll be right back, show you the bite. All right, I promise if you make chicken like that, you're gonna be the hit of the party. You're gonna make some beautiful chicken like this, and it's gonna have a nice bite to it, I'm sure. Like that. Let's try the breast while we're at it. Cut some nice breast slices like that. Beautiful. Don't forget ogsauce.com if you want to get some of that. And got my mouth full. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel as well. We'll talk to you.